Like 2 minutes down the road, I pull in the Safeway. Big ass Larry, probably 300 pounds, working in produce with his little vest on. I walked to him, Larry Nelson. He's like, oh, Jake. Give each other a hug. I said, hey, man. I said, how come y'all would beat me up as a freshman? He said, your dad asked us to beat you up. I said, what? I'm going to tell you world class. Like this is one of them stories, Jay, that like, I think back, man, and I'm going to tell you the whole story because it fundamentally, I was messed up. So I'm talking about freshman year of high school, 15-9, getting my butt beat. So I come into wrestling practice towards the middle of the season, and I got Larry Nelson, who's a big 190-pounder, played linebacker, used to shit his pants in games, like crazy dude, like crazy black dude. They used to eat ribs and chicken before games, man. It was
shit his pants in games.
It was shit his pants in games. Like, it was crazy, man. Like, Larry Nelson was like his own, like, he would come to wrestling matches dressed up as WWF characters. He had a robe, a belt. He would run out there. He had his whole entrance. Big, but he big black dude, 190 pounder, right? You had Mike Valentine, who was like this little Asian dude that was tough as shit. You had Tim. You had all these dudes that were like 2 years older than me. They were seniors and seniors and juniors. So I come in the restroom, and Larry Nelson grabbed me, and they started doing WWE on me. I'm like 140 pounds. I ain't got no muscle on me. I had started lifting weights. Dog, they beating the crap out of me, man. Like, I'm talking about like beating the crap out of me. And so this goes on for about a week, 2 weeks. I'm coming to practice, dog. They holding me up, they giving me flying elbows. They like clotheslining me. Like, I'm talking about, I'm crying every day. So I was like, man, I can't have this no more, man. Like, I'm fixing to start killing some people. And I was fighting a lot then, but like I said, I was 5 foot tall, 141 pounds, not lifting weights. So like, it became real apparent, like, if you ain't on your game, you'll get beat up. Mm-hmm. So I was like, all right, I'm done, man. So I hid in the bathroom, and I waited until one of them little dudes came by. I think it was Tim. Man, I jumped his ass, and I beat the shit out of him in the bathroom, okay? And then I went around the corner. We had a long locker room, and Mike Valentine was there. I snuck up behind him and punched him in the back of his head. He was a little unconscious, started kicking the shit out of him, right? And so then I was like, man, I went out to practice. I'm like, I'm going to beat Larry Nelson today. I ain't had no chance to beat him. You know what I'm saying? And I went out there.
This segment is brought to you by Beret If you're interested in going to selection and getting selected, guys, and live out your dreams, make sure you check out the Patreon. It'll give you access to the Discord, where just this morning I found out I had multiple guys in the latest selection class. All right, guys are getting selected over here. It's a community. We support each other, and we do whatever we need to do to ensure we get selected. I also want to talk to you guys about the 3 different ruck plans that I put together to help you out, whether you're a beginner or a more advanced rucker. These are the same plans that I used when I was training for Special Forces Assessment and Selection, and the ones I continue to use once I got to the regiment. The links for those will be in the description down below. All right, guys, let's get back to today's episode.
And no one jumped me. And I was like, damn, all right. It kind of went away. Okay, they stopped messing with me. No more WWE shit. No more getting held up in the air and them dudes drop kicking me. They was drop kicking me, man. Like, it was crazy. Okay, so fast forward, and Larry Nelson went to the East Coast, Seattle, Washington. He was over in Spokane for like 20 years. Okay. So he was over there being a cop and some other stuff. He went to He went to Washington State, on the other side of the state, right? It's like 5 hours away. I had seen him. So this is like 2010, 23 years after I'm getting my butt kicked at practice. So I talked to Bernard, one of my other homeboys, and he's like, hey, man. I said, hey, anybody seen Larry? He said, dude, he working at the Safeway right up the street. He run the produce section. I said, shit, I'm going to see Larry, man. So I jump in the car. Drive. He was up there in University Place. Like 2 minutes down the road, I pull in the Safeway. Big ass Larry, probably 300 pounds, working in produce with his little vest on. I walked to him, Larry Nelson. He's like, oh, Jake. Give each other a hug. I said, hey, man. I said, how come y'all would beat me up as a freshman? He said, your dad asked us to beat you up. I said, what? He said, yeah, man. He never told you? I said, no. I said, tell me. He said, man, he came up to school. He said, he was sitting out in the parking lot after practice one day. He pulled me to the side. He said, Larry, he said, I need you to beat Jake up every day until he fight back. I said, what? He goes, yeah, man. He said, just beat the shit out of him. He said, he just beat the shit out of him until he start fighting back. He says he's soft. He ain't tough. That's why he losing. So I'm in the produce section, Safeway, right up there on Bridgeport, Washington State, Tacoma. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I'm getting fucking destroyed at practice for 2 weeks. These dudes fucking me up. Got in my car, next stop, fucking Steilacoom, Washington, my dad's house. Pull up at my house. My dad, he older now. He in his 70s. He ain't got that fucking edge and shit. I pull up, hey, man. You had Larry and them guys beating me up in high school? I said, you know how fucked up that was? He said, that shit worked, didn't it? And I was just like, wow. I said, you know how bad they were fucking me up? He said, I don't care. I don't care. He said, look where you are now. He said, you were a soft ass freshman. He said, you ain't had no grit. You weren't had no toughness. He said, you had a good work ethic, but you were soft. He said, you ain't soft no more. Like, different way of upbringing.
Yeah. Did you ever forgive him for that? Dude, because I'm sitting there and I'm like, I don't know. Because we're both fathers now. And I'm like, man, that's some fucking special operation type.
That is, right? Like, but